Alright, hello guys. In this video we're going to be talking about our potential for a pretty big northeast snowstorm to begin December. This chance is relatively low for what I would usually put in a video. I did want to mention it though, but I do need you guys to kind of view this in a responsible way. And what I mean by that is just know that a lot of the time these chances diminish this far out, and you need to recognize that before you watch the video to be able to handle it, obviously. So this isn't a guaranteed system is basically what I'm trying to get at. So keep that in mind as you watch this video. But we are going to go over the potential chances for different scenarios as we look at every single model here in this video. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to check out the links in the description for our social medias. Let's get right into things. We're looking at our current warnings, watches, and advisories for Thanksgiving, because today's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm actually making a video on Thanksgiving, which is surprising. I want to keep my streak alive. I think I have like a 4-month upload streak, so I wasn't going to let it go to waste just for Thanksgiving morning. We're not doing anything till the afternoon, so I figured, hey, make a video. All right. So we see plenty of winter storm warnings, watches, and winter weather advisories there in some of the more purplish blues. We see some for Maine up there, so keep in mind as we talk about the snowstorm, there is a general 3 to 6 inches expected for the next couple of days, and that will be included in the total snowfall maps that we show. So there might be a little bit of an extra amount shown there for Maine. I will go back over that as we talk about the snowfall, so don't worry about that. Now we're about to go over our Futurecast Radar, which is about to be super exciting, and then we'll finally look at our total snowfall for this snowstorm at the end of this video. Alright, so you might be wondering, since this is kind of a lower chance event, why am I even showing it? Well, the chance is there, and I feel like my viewers are responsible enough to see the information and decipher that, hey, maybe this is like a, 60% chance of happening instead of a 99, and they're not going to, this isn't a forecast, basically. This isn't a forecast. This is kind of just a you guys looking at the models with me video. And if you guys don't like that, let me know. Maybe I won't do these anymore. But I know that a lot of people do like them, and that's why I continue to do them. Your local news, the Weather Channel, none of those sources will do stuff like this because they don't trust that their viewers can handle the information, which is insulting in my opinion. All right. So we're on to Saturday, November 30th, the morning time, and you can see there's a little bit of snow there for Michigan and Ohio. We are going to move on a frame, and it looks to kind of diminish by the time we're at Saturday night there. But as we head towards early on Sunday morning, we see that there is some snow up there still. And by the time we're at Sunday morning, maybe 9 a.m., we see ice, mixed precipitation, all sorts of stuff going on for Pennsylvania, and heavy snow for Michigan there at this point as the low pressure system is just below you guys. And by Sunday afternoon, December 1st, we see that there is some moderate snow entering the state of New York, and even a little bit just to the north of New York City there, which is the furthest south we've definitely seen a snowstorm try to bring snow, which is super exciting. And we're about to move on to where things get super exciting for the big cities: New York City, Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, Portland, Maine. All of these big cities could potentially see accumulating snow. Alright, and as we head towards Sunday night, December 1st, we see that it's a 991 millibar low pressure system there in the ocean, so it's definitely intensifying by this point. We see snow just to the north of New York City, Boston as well, north of the snow line, Providence as well. So really the chances, so I'm going to call this video probably Big City Snowstorm with a question mark. The question mark basically indicating like, less of a chance than what I would typically have a video out on. But Boston definitely has the biggest chance, and Portland, if you consider that a big city, has a pretty big chance as well. So those two cities have the biggest chance. And then Providence has a moderate chance in New York City. There is a chance there in the biggest chance of the year so far, but I don't know how big that chance is right now because some models aren't showing you getting any snow. But Boston definitely has a much higher chance than New York City is what I'm trying to get at. All right. Let's move on towards late on Sunday night, maybe 2 a.m., and we can see extremely heavy snow making its way into northern Connecticut and then southeastern Massachusetts, excluding Cape Cod, obviously, though, as you can see here. But Boston, we're seeing those dark blues, which is very heavy snowfall going on, and maybe getting an icy mix there in New York City by this point. We are going to move on to 9 a.m. on Monday, December 2nd, and we can see finally New York City has switched over to snow. So For this model, the Canadian model, it's showing back-end snow being the most likely outcome for New York City and a little bit of Long Island there as well, and southern Connecticut as well. We see Boston maybe mixing back with rain, though. That could become problematic. We'll just have to see. This model is keeping the low pressure system very, very close to the coast, and what that's really going to do is create more mixing issues right along the coast. It's a 986 millibar low pressure system, very, very strong low pressure system by this point, and really bringing moderate to heavy snow for New York City, in through Connecticut, and just to the west of Boston. By the afternoon time, we could see moderate snow begins again for Boston, and we see light snow for New York City still, but it's really diminished by this point. We have a 984 millibar low pressure system, and this model really wants to keep it away from Maine, not really giving Maine much snow. As we head towards Monday night, we can see really not a lot going on for Maine. Like I said, maybe coastal Maine getting some light to moderate snow, but that's about it on this model. The moderate snow is still sticking around there for southern New England. And as we head towards late on Monday night, maybe 2 a.m. Tuesday, December 3rd, we see light snow showers still lingering, but basically said and done by this point. So let's take a look at our GFS model now, and it's going to be very interesting to see what this model shows here, because it's a pretty different solution. Both the models have it starting around the 1st and 2nd of December. But the GFS, you can see we already by the 2nd, this is Monday morning, December 2nd, we have a 991 millibar low pressure system very close to the coast, bringing rain to Boston and New York City, so very different, not a big city snowstorm on the GFS. But the day after, the GFS has another low pressure system heading in that brings snow to potentially just to the north of New York City, and then Boston, Providence potentially, and even Portland. So these big cities getting snow with that second one on the GFS, but it's just much less snow here. We see Maine getting snow on the GFS, which is kind of common with the models right now for this storm. The Canadian, which is the first one I showed, is kind of the outlier in that aspect. It really was the only one showing Maine not really getting very impacted. So we'll have to wait and see. But the GFS definitely, as you could tell, had a very different solution. And that goes into what I was saying, where this is very early on, and there's a lot of different things being thrown at us right now. And you guys just need to understand that this video is really just, like I said, us looking at the models together and not really a forecast yet. This is only forecast models. All right, so here's the Canadian model's total snowfall. In those purple colors and below is really, we're looking at a dusting to 6 inches of snow within those regions. So if you're in the blues or purples. But in the pinks, that's where we're at 6 to 12 inches of snow. Again, Maine, we didn't see any snow on this model for Maine really, but that's from today, and I think that's overdoing it for today anyway as well. But in this green color down there for northern New Jersey, just to the north of New York, and then through Boston, that's where we're expecting 12 to 24 inches of snow. We see some numbers on there, 24. And then in that dark blue, that's where we see 24 inches plus. Do I think this is realistic? No, I think this is overdoing it a ton. But the placement is the most important thing to pay attention to here, this early on especially. Now, the GFS, as you can see, kind of underwhelming. We see Maine, southern New Hampshire, southern Vermont getting a lot of snow, and then Massachusetts really just a general 1 to 3 inches of snow, even Boston, and then New York City getting nothing. So very, very different solution there for sure. Here's your GFS ensemble. So this is kind of what the GFS members of their ensemble would agree upon as the mean average. And we see really this is a northern New England storm on the GFS ensemble for sure. Here's the European model here, as you can see, and it keeps a solution pretty far south, kind of like the Canadian. I would say it's in between the two. Boston getting 9 inches of snow. That would be very decent. Massachusetts getting a ton of snow, but New York City only getting about an inch here. So kind of underwhelming for New York City, but Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, this would be a pretty far southern snowstorm for what we've seen recently, obviously. And then here's the European ensemble model. And you can see it's a little bit further south than its normal model. We see New York City maybe getting about 4 or 5 inches there. Boston getting about 7 inches. And then Providence probably getting about 6 to 8 inches there. So the European model is kind of keeping it further south like the Canadian. So the GFS seems to be a big outlier from those aspects of placement, north to south. Now, the reason the ensemble models are so useful this far out is because it's a mean average of a ton of different models. So the European ensemble has like 50 different members. I forget how many it is, but a ton. And it takes the mean average of what all of those different models are showing. And that's usually the most useful when we're kind of far out. We're 4 days out right now, so we do like to use a lot of ensemble models to get a general idea of the placement. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.